This week, how to eat more plants. Let's call it the first edition, or first in the series, whatever you want to call it. But first, I'm Quinn Emmett, and this is Important, Not Important. It's science for people who give a shit. You can hit subscribe right now in your media player of choice to get this newsletter and my conversations with the world's smartest people every single week. They still talk to me. There's almost 200 of them. Amazing. You can find the email or the web version and links to all of the stuff we talk about today at importantnotimportant.com or right in your show notes. And now to today's big question. How to eat more plants, and how specifically today to eat less beef, because in America, it's always beef o'clock somewhere. In America, specifically North America, United States, there's nothing more taboo than politely, even gently, suggesting that we might each, all together, have to reduce our meat, and in particular beef intake, just a little bit in order to hold on to the temperate conditions which allowed our species and so many other species to flourish. You've probably heard about how a couple of different ice ages almost ended us. There were like 7 of us left. Holy shit. Where's that movie? Anyways, however much we are constantly pulled back to our, shall we say, Puritan Christian fundamentalist ways, neither other taboo things like sex nor religion can top beef. I know. I believe beef is our sex. I believe further that beef is our religion. Like Sunday school, mass shootings, child TV stars, football, alcohol, casting couches, more football, and the Department of Defense, beef is really inescapable from who we are. And we are collectively loath, at best, to question the externalities of how it gets to our plate. And it isn't because in the year of our Lord, 2024, that there aren't options. There are plenty, and we're going to talk about them in just a minute. But first, let me get through the why. I think the reason it's so taboo and why we get so angry is because we like to shame each other. We're social animals, and as a pack, we don't make it easy to leave culturally historical things like beef behind. Most people who've tried to eat vegan or vegetarian or just less meat or even just less beef come running back eventually. Like ditching alcohol or football, and I've done both of those, there is a real social shock, stigma, whatever, to turning down our national food, in private or in public, frankly. And it isn't because there isn't a safe space. How many Instagram veggie cooks and creators of every stripe have strove these past years to build 1 million intersecting, proud, welcoming, inclusive, plant-based communities that present a real opportunity for anyone to walk away from the mostly boomer meat cult. And look, I know something about cults. Not only was I barely a religion major 100 years ago, I did CrossFit. I also occasionally still do yoga. 13 years ago, I trained for a year and then ran a marathon in those Vibram 5-toed shoes. And much to my wife's chagrin, I am still talking about bringing them back. I have been fully vegan. I was the last person on earth to switch from buying my MP3s to streaming because I wanted to own my music collection. And as much as I have so much respect for Edgar Martinez, I still think the DH is criminal. I am a ticking time bomb of most obnoxious guy to talk to. You can pick your poison from any of those things. So I get it. I get the cult thing. But here's the other thing. It's impossible now, knowing everything we know about animals and how we treat them and about the planet, this one alive, habitable planet, to celebrate and continue to indulge in beef the way that we do. Because while we are diehard idealists here who will celebrate progress and absolutely punish bad guys, we are also very transparently and hopefully pragmatically, we operate from a what's actually possible and meet people and companies and governments where they are basis. Because, look, as much as I will gleefully shame real-life bad guys, I refuse to gatekeep or shame well-intentioned people who are maybe willing to consider a Beyond Burger, and that's it, just this once, and slathered with caramelized onions. I want you to understand, though, we'll never settle for good enough or incrementalism, but we will, sure as hell, take what we can most realistically get and then keep pushing and pushing for more and better until it's probably, frankly, a little bit overboard. Quitting beef overnight as a single human or family or country, knowing the real stupid social consequences, it's not super easy. Shaming you about your choices isn't going to get us anywhere. Showing you a whole new world of delicious plants, just on the other side of fear, I can do that. Because the more we talk about it, the more it's a thing and the less it's a cult. Let's talk about how to eat less beef. But first, why? Like I mentioned in the intro to this series, for all the focus on power plants and cars, food emissions are a real thing. And I encourage you to click on the link and look at the fucking ridiculous chart from Our World in Data. Because of agricultural exceptionalism, almost half of the continental US is used for meat production, from actual grazing to all of the many monocrops we grow to feed future burgers, bacon, wings, and of course, the bacon, egg, and cheese. So this percentage actually holds true across, again, the only habitable planet for agriculture in general, led by dairy and meat. Sure, you ask, but we got a lot of people to feed now. Yeah, but meat diets require a shit ton more land than plant-based diets, and land, as you may have noticed from real estate costs, is a zero-sum game. There's not much. So we can't plant beans or rewild land currently occupied by cows, much less corn and soy. It wasn't always this way with any of this stuff, right? As you guys know, the bulk of warming, driven in large part by animal agriculture, has happened in my lifetime, right? From the internet. Global surface temperatures have increased by around 1.3 degrees Celsius since pre-industrial levels, with the vast majority of this, about 1 Celsius, happening in the past 50 years. Great. With a growing population. And all this agriculture. And it's hotter. And we're using more and more fresh water, but devoting a greater percentage of it to the beef trade, including siphoning off almost half the goddamn Colorado River just for hay for cattle. It's crazy, right? And you hear about it much less than you should because, again, cultural norms, but also it's pretty difficult to pierce these cultural norms, however devastating, while message machines like the ones behind big beef, dairy, fossil fuels, supplements, alcohol, and tobacco continue to produce unimpeded. And here's a tweet or a thread, I don't know, from Robert Reich. The point is, just 4 companies in the US control 85% of beef processing, 80% of corn seed distribution, 77% of fertilizer production, 69% of grocery sales. Yeah, the point is, this is not sustainable. It's impossible to break into. They just have so much power. Let's talk about the health impacts. Does even a small cut of beef provide for a hell of a lot of protein? Of course it does. Similarly, gasoline remains one of the most energy-dense options we have. Should we be thankful for the past 100 years of those? For sure. But also, of course, measuring our food and our tools like gasoline in isolation is an option we no longer have. We know too much. The externalities of gasoline and beef are myriad, not ideal, and without giving anything away, some of them rhyme with schmelution and schmart disease, among others, like dementia. It's not great. Good news. There are lots and lots of fake meats that mostly taste close to the real thing and also have lots of protein. Even better, all the actual plant options that are measurably better for you. Good for you even. Crazy, I know. And there's positive externalities to these, like fiber. Fuck, none of us get anywhere near enough fiber. It's what we should be talking about instead of protein. Okay, maybe not instead of protein, but alongside it, because unless you're an Olympian, you're almost certainly getting enough protein. And if not, you can just as easily get it from plants, legumes. Lentils are super cheap. You know what else you would get at the same time, besides not heart disease? Fucking fiber, back again. Wow. Again, addressing the existing arguments or theories. Can I just eat more chicken or fish? Sure. Many people have chosen that route. And a gazillion chickens have fucking died for our sins. Like maybe if gazillion is a real number, which is unclear, please write in and let me know, then that's how many chickens. On the whole, we're actually eating way less meat than we used to. But way more chicken, which still carries huge water and air and astronomical industrial farming issues. So more on that when we get to chicken, not this time. In the meantime, I'm just going to leave this here. And remember, our insane animal consumption is not only bad for forests and your arteries and your brain, it's also a fundamental breeding ground for more pandemics, which, however inevitable, and it's inevitable, I have to be honest, I really don't want to do that again. Let's talk about animal impacts. Okay. When you say, I'm doing it for the animals, I think that's the reason meat eaters get bummed out the most, because when you tell them, I don't eat animals anymore because they are conscious and can feel pain, and holy shit, have you seen those horror show factory farm documentaries? They become super duper defensive because they are literally currently inhaling a smash burger that apparently used to have opinions and feelings. I really do believe this is the one that drives most of the social stigma. You know what else is delicious besides a smash burger? Grilled octopus. You know what makes it less delicious? Discovering that octopi are basically the closest we'll ever get to an extraterrestrial intelligent species, but we, with zero fucks given, throw them on some propane and serve it tapas style. Anyways, truly, and again, you really can't unsee this stuff. Factory farming is an unholy nightmare. I'm not going to spend forever on it, but just know that in 2022, humans slaughtered 300 million cows. We actually killed way more pigs and chickens, but again, we're not there yet. It's not that week, so hold on. How do we eat less meat? Let's talk about the beginner stage. Let's start with a plan. There's a million options. The most popular seem to be beef-free before 6 p.m. or after 6 p.m. I don't care. Beef-free weekends. Beef-free literally any fucking day. Beef-free for 1 week and then see how far you can take it. The great answer is whatever gets your foot in the door, man. This is the beginner section. Hey everyone, it's Quinn, your host and the founder of Important Not Important. Have you ever wondered what the hell forever chemicals actually are? How about ocean acidification or green hydrogen? What about CRISPR or agroforestry? There was a time pretty recently when I had no idea what the hell any of those things were, or many other things. Thankfully, our Basic Shit series is here to quickly get you up to speed. Designed and written by Willow, these bite-sized breakdowns will help you understand the lingo you need to understand and unfuck our rapidly changing world. To learn more, head over to importantnotimportant.com, and up at the top, just hit categories and then Basic Shit. They are free to everyone. You are welcome. Thanks for listening, and as always, thanks for giving a shit. Back to the show. Now I'm going to pause right here and draw a line in the sand, though. The trendy thing to do, and we talked about it a little bit before, is to tell a beef eater to choose leaner choices, like chicken or fish or pigs. The title of this series is How to Eat More Plants, so we're going to skip the eat another animal idea and go straight to easy ways not to eat them at all. Not directly to eat a single bowl of sexy legumes or one smoky grilled vegetable that came out of the ground this morning. This is the beginners section, goddammit. But no doubt, we're leaving animal flesh behind entirely. How do we do it? It's like starting a meditation or going alcohol-free or doing push-ups. Lowering the bar for eating less beef, courtesy of some well-honed self-awareness and psychology, can go a very long way towards actual long-term success. You can aspire to go beef-free for a whole week or 1 day a week or whatever, but that just means you've got to stock some extremely easy options to make up for it. Because you're you, and I'm me, and this is why I don't keep snacks in the office. I work above a candy store, but I actually don't really give a shit about candy. I give a shit about chocolate chip cookies, and they don't sell them. Thank God. Anyways, here's the thing. If burgers and meatballs and steak are your fixes, and you're a beginner, what you want is a full-on imposter. So, let's talk brands. Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, Dr. Praeger's. Their imposter burgers are pretty great now and so easy to just stash in the freezer. They're about as identical to real burgers as it gets. Are they healthy for you? Of course not. Are they not meat? Yeah. Hold on to all your usual burger fixings because you're going to use those on your fake meat burger too. Impossible and Beyond also make pretty great not beef meatballs. I saute them real quick on the high heat, bake them as they tell me to, throw them in some sauce, if you will. I haven't personally tried Light Life or Morningstar versions, but let me know. And then steak. Eat Meaty, Meati, I believe, and Juicy Marble, I think. Their imposter steaks are quite popular. I have not tried them. Did a bunch of research. They're not cheap, but you want it easy mode, and that often involves throwing money at the problem, especially with food prices being what they are, and when we're talking about replicating steak. So, context, quick note about some of those brands. They're in rough shape. Food is super expensive to buy and make. Real low-grade beef costs very little because we're monsters. The big conglomerates have cut in and undercut their prices and products with shittier versions that make well-intentioned beginners go, plant-based burgers are terrible. Those ones are. These ones are not. So the point is, it actually helps the whole project just to do business with these folks. Your actions matter. Welcome. Intermediate. Okay, so here's some fake burgers I've eaten that are all pretty delicious, but for the most part, do not actually try to replicate the entire experience of eating a beef burger. Is it in the shape of a burger? For sure. So your condiments and buns fit. Are the taste and textures different? Yeah, for sure. Are these options generally healthier than the imposter versions? Yes. Now, most of these brands, I'm going to mention 3, I think 4, they offer a variety of options. I encourage you to try a bunch and see what you and your family or your partner or your roommate that you hate, see what you like. Do it with somebody. Number 1, Morningstar Farms burgers. Pretty great. Dr. Prager's veggie burgers. We eat so many of those. Trader Joe's, and particularly I like and is always sold out, the quinoa cowboy burger. So I buy all of these basically interchangeably so my kids don't get stuck on one thing. They do, however, never stop eating. Like the pancake mix in the pantry, it helps to have a few boxes of these in the freezer at any given moment. On a weeknight, it doesn't take long to crank out a bunch of these. Throw them on the table with some toasted buns, because we're not freaks, and some condiments, and then just get the hell out of the way. Let me pause real quick. Again, sorry. Good moment to share my tried and true meal delivery device, the Share Plate, for young families. Because again, we're trying to go on this journey with other people. No parenting hack is perfect or repeatable forever. But what we do is we make/offer 5 to 6 different veggies, proteins, whatever. And the kids eat whatever and however much they want from what's on offer. 2 options are like all-around favorites. 2 might be something we've had before that 1 or more kids tried and liked. And 1 or 2 are new, or some vegetable or curry or whatever we picked up at the farmer's market that no one knows what it tastes like. Great, that's it. The kids feel like they're in control, but in reality, you choose everything on the table. I think that's the plot of Gattaca, but I might be wrong. Anyways, again, nothing is perfect, but it works for us most of the time. And now we reach our expert section. So here are some full-on substitutes for the idea of a burger or meatball or even a steak. Again, off the top of my head, mash of black beans or chickpeas or lentils and other stuff in the shape of one, fucking enormous juicy mushrooms, slabs of roasted cauliflower, roasted to hell and back and topped with whatever you want. Variations on these are going to be the most typical options when you're eating out. Or if they're lazy, they'll just have a Beyond or Impossible Imposter option that they've reluctantly sub in whatever their smash burger is. If they've one made out of real legumes or veggies, go for those and grab the fiber. You're welcome. But S tier is making these things at home. And truly, they can be so much better than boring ass beef. I'm going to tell you about these, but you're going to want to find the links in the show notes or in the post online. Again, importantnotimportant.com. Look for the one that says How to Eat More Plants. It's Beef O'Clock, I think, is the title. Number 1, Mark Bittman's black bean burgers are fucking ridiculous. I've been making them for 100 years. They're so easy. They're so good. Number 2, these lentil-based meatballs. They are a lot of prep, but they're so good and super easy to stash a bag of them in the freezer. You can turn them into burgers or falafel. You can make them a meatball, whatever you want. There's ones with beets that we've got. And then there's these sweet potato, quinoa, spinach, and red lentil burgers. They're not only incredible, but just about as nutrient dense as a meal, much less a burger, can possibly be, and still be delicious. Plus, The sweet potato and lentil combo means a chutney is eagerly welcomed, just slathered across both the burger and the bun, because we don't cut corners here. I hope that was good enough for you. That's it for now for beef. We'll add to it. Send me your favorite beef substitutions specifically, and we'll get to the other ones soon. I'll edit and add to this post over time, not the audio, of course, but hopefully this has been a good primer to get you on your way. Thank you for watching or listening, or however you did this while you did the dishes or walked your dog late at night. Thank you for being a part of our community, and thank you for giving a shit.